All right, let's talk about AI. You know, the conversation usually gets stuck in one of two places. It's either about the problems we already know, or it's some far-off sci-fi future. But today, we're going to explore a different story, one that is already changing our world right under our noses.
Right, so the AI debate often feels like it's split into two totally separate camps. On one side, you've got people saying, hey, this is nothing new. It's the same old story of bias and corporations taking our data. And on the other side, it's all about the Hollywood apocalypse scenario. You know, a super intelligence that could literally wipe us all out.
But what if the most important story is actually the one happening right now, in that huge space between those two extremes? The stuff that's going to play out over the next 5, maybe 10 years? What if we're missing these huge social shifts because we're so focused on the polls? To really see what's going on, we need a completely new framework.
So here's how we're going to build that framework together. We're going to start by looking past the usual fears and get into the engine that powers everything, what's called automated influence. Then, we'll put on a new pair of glasses to see the structural problems this creates. After that, we'll look at what's just around the corner, the coming wave of AI agents. Imagine 3 futures they could create, and finally, get to the heart of it all, a fundamental crisis of legitimacy.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk about the engine that's already running our digital world, whether we realize it or not. This is the system of automated influence.
So, automated influence. What is it? Well, it's the core logic behind pretty much everything you do online. It's what powers your social media feed, your search results, even those ads that feel like they're reading your mind. It is, for all intents and purposes, the business model of the internet.
And it works in this constant 4-step loop. Step 1, it collects your data. Every click, every search, every video you watch. Step 2, it crunches all that data, looking for patterns. Step 3, it hits you with targeted interventions. A specific news article, a recommended video. And what's the goal? Step 4, to shape what you do next. It's a feedback loop.
Now that little 4-step engine has some really massive consequences. But to get our heads around them, we have to kind of zoom out. We need to shift our thinking from our individual experience to the bigger structural problems. See, most of the time when we critique AI, it's interactional. It's all about individual harm, They took my data without asking, or my privacy was violated. But the structural view asks a much bigger question. It looks at the whole system, the power imbalances, the money, the effects on society as a whole.
And when you look at it from the structural view, you find something that sounds, well, a little crazy. The big issue isn't really about protecting your individual pieces of data, because honestly, on its own, one piece of your data is basically worthless.
But, and this is the key, when you take your data and you combine it with data from millions and millions of other people, you get what's called a cooperative surplus. It's this incredibly valuable resource with massive predictive power that none of us could have ever created on our own.
So you see the point? The problem isn't just that our data is being collected. The real fundamental issue is who gets to control the means of prediction that all this collective data makes possible. Who holds the keys to that power?
And this whole structural problem, this whole concentration of power, well, it's about to get supercharged by what's coming next, AI agents.
Yeah, we are moving way beyond simple chatbots here. We're talking about language model agents. Think of an LLM that's not just a brain in a jar, but a brain with arms and legs. You could tell it, hey, plan a weekend trip to the mountains, and it won't just spit out ideas. It'll actually check flight prices, book a cabin, and drop the whole thing into your calendar, all by itself.
So, what does a world full of these powerful agents actually look like? Let's game this out a bit. Here are 3 big ways this could go.
First up, AI companions. Imagine an agent that remembers every single thing you've ever said to it and can be the perfect, agreeable, always-on friend. This really makes you ask a deep question, right? What happens to our real, messy, complicated human relationships when we've got a perfect simulation on tap 24/7?
Okay, second, they could become attention guardians. And I love the metaphor on this slide. Think about it. Today's recommendation algorithms are like vampires. They need a constant drip, a live feed of our data to work. But an AI agent could work more like a combustion engine, running on older, fossilized data to protect our attention. This would be huge. It would turn AI from a tool that extracts our focus into a shield that protects it.
And finally, scenario 3, universal intermediaries. The promise here is amazing. A digital butler for every person, controlling all your technology with just your voice. It's the dream of ultimate convenience. But the danger
the danger is massive. A single company could end up mediating and shaping almost every digital interaction you have. They would become the ultimate gatekeeper to your life.
So, when you put all of this together, you take the raw power of automated influence and you amplify it with these coming AI agents, it all points to one single fundamental challenge for all of us.
Here it is, the structural power that's been created by automated influence, a power that's about to be massively cranked up by AI agents, is almost entirely in the hands of private companies. And these companies, they have zero democratic accountability. This creates a deep, unavoidable crisis of legitimacy.
What this means is we're basically living under a new kind of algorithmic rule, but we have absolutely no say in how the rules are written. We're trapped. We're caught between the unaccountable power of big tech on one side and, well, the pretty unappealing idea of just handing all that same power over to the government. It's a real standoff.
And that leaves us with the critical question of our time. This isn't just about building better technology anymore. It's about inventing better governance. The question isn't, will the robots take over? The real question is this: how do we, together, build legitimacy, accountability, and some form of self-governance into our digital lives?